Captain America and the Winter Soldier, Episode 6, the finale to what I would say one of the best things to come out of Marvel Studios in a long time is here. Now, I normally do these reviews and I put them out on Friday, but I wanted to take a minute just to kind of maybe get some final thoughts in about what I thought about the series overall while we talk about this final episode. Because if I'm being honest, I don't have that much to say about the final episode itself, because I think all of the emotional resignation really kind of came in the last episode, and that made me really happy. You know, there's a beautiful fight scene at the beginning where we saw Sam debut his Captain America costume, and it was really cool. That entrance he makes in that suit looked really cool, really impressive, and the suit itself, very comic accurate. It almost feels like they made that suit in the comic books because they knew they were going to use it in a movie. Now, I'm not going to say anything here or there, but I do believe there is a time, I'm gonna say between maybe 2014 and 2020 Marvel Comics, where every new character or suit we are introduced to in the comic books is being there because we're gonna put it in a movie at some point. I believe that is what we're doing, and I would 100% believe that is why Captain America Falcon, that suit exists, because we knew we were going to do it in here. That's why the suit looked like that in the comic books, because we could translate it that easily into live action. And it looks great. The fight scenes were cool. You got some great Falcon stuff. You got some great use of Captain America stuff. It looked really good. I thought that entire sequence was really cool at the beginning. There's some interesting moments through it that I'm just like, okay, that's kind of an interesting use of the stuff. My favorite part in particular of Sam fighting as Captain America, it's probably him talking to the woman in the helicopter, where they use the right timing to figure out how to get the guy out of the helicopter so she could grab hold of it. That was really cool to see. The stuff on the ground where we saw Bucky and Sharon, I thought it was pretty cool. Now, I'm not going to bury the lead here. We all kind of figured eventually that it was going to be Sharon revealed as the power broker. I think they set it up, obviously. Now, I am not a big fan of Sharon's character in the MCU. She hasn't been given an opportunity, really. Just like the neighbor to Steve, the love interest to Steve, sort of. And now she's just the world hates me, I'm evil. There's not much to that, if you want my honest opinion, but I see what they're doing with her, so I can't fault them for that. If you are, if you were kicked out of your country because of the things you did and everybody else, got to come back in and they got all pardons and shit and you didn't, I'd get that. So I'm not going to fault them for that, but the Sharon stuff, again, it's very basic, it's very just kind of weak in that sense, but it kind of goes in what I think about the Flag Smasher stuff towards the end of this with Carly and everyone. I think it was greatly affected by the COVID stuff happening at the time, just because you can feel there was probably more here we could focus on, because Carly kind of gets an unceremonial send-off where nothing really happens with her, which kind of sucks. But it's I think if we were able to do what we wanted to and say nothing with COVID happened, I think we maybe would get some more resonating stuff happening with the Flag Smasher characters and with Carly than her just becoming the full-on villain where it's now we have to take the hostages. If that goes bad, we kill them. At the end of the day, our message still gets across, but we're gonna have to kill these people to get our message. That kind of sucks. I think what would have been better if they did some of the other stuff where she didn't fully commit to being the villain. I understand why she did, but it's okay. I will say, her and Sam, they had a genuine connection that I liked seeing explored in certain elements of this story. And when she actually dies, I thought that was impressive. Of course, Sharon kills her, and there's not really anything to that. It didn't have to be Sharon that killed her. We just kind of pardoned Sharon later, so there's nothing to that. But I enjoyed seeing that Sam was this girl literally died for a cause because of what you people did. I liked that. The entire speech that Sam gives to everybody at the GRC, very, very powerful. That is a very Captain America thing, and it's in that moment where I think if you are a public eye in the Marvel universe and you're trying to figure out why is Sam becoming Captain America, you watch that speech on any newscast and you're that's it, because he gets it. It's basically just him saying, you have to look at it from this girl's perspective. She was really driven to do these things because of how you treated her and her people. And there are hundreds of people that are like this, Even me now wearing this Captain America suit, I know there's countless people who want to see me dead because of what I stand for and what I'm representing. And because of that, we have to be better. You have the power to be better, so you should actually do it. A very good Captain America speech that was handled very, very well. I thought that was great. Again, some beautiful stuff with that character, with that world we're exploring. I like it a lot. But even one of my favorite moments of this show too, and I've said it every episode we talked about, John Walker is just one of those characters that I've always been fascinated by, especially when we are doing something in the MCU to make him more likable. And the fact that in the end of the show, towards the end of the show, when he is angry at the world, he built his own Captain America shield, he actually does the right thing in the end and tries to save the hostages instead of going after Carly, like he pulls the van back up before it falls. That is very cool. And that is kind of what I wanted to see for a long time from John in this show. It's just like, this is what the whole end game was for him. He starts off being unlikable, he starts off being more unlikable, but at the end of the day, he's going to do the right thing because that's John Walker. He's not the brightest guy, but he knows right from wrong. I like that a lot. In his end story, Julia's back and we see that she designs the US agent suit and he becomes the full-on US agent. That is really cool. I liked seeing the way that looked. I think that costume was fantastic. That entire setup of like, okay, now we got the US agent. I wonder what's going to happen there. I know a lot of people are thinking Dark Avengers, but if you want my honest opinion, I don't think it's going to be Dark Avengers. And if it is Dark Avengers, here's my thoughts on what's going to happen to John Walker if we do go down the route of Dark Avengers. I think it's going to be a team. I think they're teasing Moonstone in Captain Marvel 2. I think you could maybe see Yelena on there. I don't think it's Yelena. I think you take Matt Gargan from Homecoming, you shove him in a weird Spider-Man suit maybe. I think John Walker is going to be told to lead that team. He's not going to be told they're bad guys. And when he figures that out, he's going to go solo act and break off from the team. I think that's what's going to happen. I would love to see that be in the route that it goes. That'd be really cool to see. Great stuff all around. Not a lot of stuff with Bucky Barnes in this episode, but you know, there didn't need to be. He's pretty much just going to get his emotional payoff and his send-off, and that is just getting closure. If we look at like the entire arc of Bucky throughout this season, it's just him accepting who he needs to be. We kind of got the resolution last week where like Sam tells him, you got to quit like avenging, you got to amend, you got to like attack those wounds head on and like say you're sorry. So he says you're sorry to like Yuri, and you're like, that's it. That's his arc. If we never saw Bucky again, I wouldn't complain because that is a send-off for him. He's no longer the Winter Soldier. He said his piece to the people that he needs to say his piece to. He has moved on from his trauma. That is really cool to see. Again, not a lot of Bucky, but very important to see that arc for him. He like deserved it. He needed it. It worked really well, and I'm just glad that we got a cool moment like that with Bucky. I think that's fantastic. But to me, some of the best stuff of this episode and of this show has been focusing on Isaiah Bradley. And we get some great stuff again of that character, especially when we see that we finally got like a memorial or like a dedication to Isaiah put up in the Captain America Museum. And just seeing the way he breaks down like, that's it. That is like the best way to end this show, is just having that conclusion, having that feeling. I thought that was fantastic. It really just impressed me and made me happy. That's it. You set it up now. You set up where Eli is going to want to become a hero like his grandfather. You set up so much in that scene that the world's going to recognize Isaiah now. Now, I don't know where we're going to see him appear again, but if I had to guess where we're going to see Isaiah again, it's going to be with Eli, and I think Isaiah will play a recurring role in whatever Project Young Avengers turns out to become. I think that's what we're going to see. We also see the world kind of fully accepts Sam as Captain America, which that's really fun. As I think, you know, there was like this fear in the world, and I understood it, like, oh, people aren't going to accept Sam as Captain America. They will. They'll accept it eventually with time. People are going to believe it. There's some great moments with that where people are like, oh, it's Black Falcon. No, man, that's Captain America. That stuff worked really well. I thought that was some great stuff, and it just made me really happy. Like, this is it. This is why we did it in the comic books, because we knew we were getting here. Now, that might sound bitter, and it's probably not true, but it's like, that is such a good thing to see. This is exactly where Sam should go. And I thought that the entire arc, the entire story for him, it worked really well. It flowed really well. There was so much about it that I liked and enjoyed that I cannot be mad at this show for doing what it did. It really stuck its landing, and there's just some great stuff like that. And there's a lot of great just like character moments. I think some of my favorite stuff too, the remainder of the Flag Smashers after Carly died, they get blown up by Zemo because his old man Butler blew him up. Like, that is Zemo to a T. I really liked seeing that. Again, the stuff with US Agent T's and that, it's great. We've already confirmed a Captain America 4, pretty much. Perfect. Like, you don't even, there's so much good stuff you could do with that. You want my honest opinion on where we do for Captain America 4? I say you go down the rabbit hole of Serpent Society. I think they had that title teased before anything else like severely weird happened. Do it again. That'd be pretty cool to see, especially with this more colorful Captain America. Get some more colorful villains in there. You can set it up being a connection to Hydra and then set up Hydra again as a big bad. I think that's a really cool area you could explore. I liked that a lot, actually. So, we did get a post-credits scene, and it was just Sharon being pardoned by the US government. Yeah, I mean, she's still bad, so it's fine. I don't have anything bad to say about that, just more like, I see what you're doing here. I hope it's not revealed that she's like a Skrull or like Sin or someone. I hope this is just Sharon Carter just pissed off and she's going to do a bad thing now. That is more interesting than a lot of stuff they could do with the Sharon Carter character. So focus on that. That's a fun area to explore. A good episode. And you know, I want to end things just by saying, I think as a whole, this season really showed what Disney Plus is willing to do. I think if you look at the first two outings from Disney Plus's Marvel stuff, WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, they really showed the difference in tone you can take for these things. WandaVision is very like old school sitcom-y, we're dealing with stuff like that, but then it becomes like this hardcore thing about grief and accepting love and destiny and all that stuff. And this is about like a political topical event in the world that if like the symbol of America no longer was that symbol, how would the world react if a black man became that symbol? And how does the world feel about the idea of super soldiers when we shouldn't have that power given to people, and when it does, what ultimately happens to them? I think that's a fun area to explore, and it stuck the landing really well. The effects looked great. I will say, shooting the action sequence at nighttime, I should say, just making it all dark, it hides some of the CG. I understand why you do that. There were a few moments where, you know, Falcon Cap flies off where I'm like, yeah, I can see the CG being a little weaker here, but you hit it in the dark, so it looks better than what it would with the light. I understand the need to do that. It's a trick we've been doing for ages in Hollywood, so it's not a bad thing. But it's just like, I get it. I know what you're doing here. I get it. It looks cool for the most part. But the suit, man, that Captain America suit is flawless. That US agent suit is flawless. They look really good. And I'm very impressed with what we got here. All the emotional beats pay off. I think that's very impressive to see for a show like this. And if this is the future of Marvel, or even the future of television, where it's like more prestigious 6 episodes event-like series, where it's like, instead of like, okay, we're doing like 13 episodes where we have to like stretch out the budget over that, instead we're cutting it back to 6 episodes, we're getting a bigger budget. I think that's more impressive. It actually gets me excited to see what the future of television could hold, because I'm interested to see what happens because of the success of this show. It's got great numbers so far. It's introduced the world to a larger idea of these characters, and we should all just take a moment to just appreciate the dedication that Anthony Mackie put into his performance, because I mean, if you were to watch Captain America Winter Soldier in 2014, was there ever a moment in your mind where you said, we're going to see this guy become Captain America? I don't know. But the fact that he put in the time and the effort and actually like was satisfied to do this, that's awesome. I hope we see him for years to come in this role, because it would really work. We're going to be getting Natalie Portman as Thor, and I think we're going to be seeing, you know, Carol Danvers take a more prominent role, so it's going to be the all new, all different Avengers before we know it. That's pretty exciting. I think that's a cool thing to see. Great episode, great finale. All the payoffs worked. I think that is fantastic, and I just liked seeing all the beats for this. It was very cool to see. I'm very excited for the future of Marvel Studios and the future for all these characters, and whatever property, whatever franchise, or whatever place you stick them in, just do it. I think that's going to be really cool. So good job to Captain America and the Winter Soldier. It worked really well, and it was a really fun just ride to watch. I really enjoyed it. So thank you guys for watching this review and this set of reviews. Am I going to come back for Loki? I'm not sure yet. I'm going to, depends how things go, but we'll see. I might be back for weekly Lokis. I might just do one big Loki. We'll see. But thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.